Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great weekend by the time you see this video here. As we close out Friday, basically what happened here was we ended up holding right into that key resistance area that we identified for you. It's been, a year and a half plus that this has been resistance, and so, or a key support / resistance area. And so what happened here on the weekly chart, last week we had closed, or 2 weeks ago we had closed above this area, and then this week we're pulling back to it. Now that's great, except for the fact that we made this big fat distribution bar up here, so that kind of bugs me because that's still now a big area of resistance right through there. Okay, that's now all resistance on top of the regular weekly channel there. So really, in essence, what we are is we're caught in a kill zone between falling resistance, rising support underneath, and that long-term, key support resistance level is right in the middle of that whole thing. Breaking that down into the daily chart, you can see that here a different way. So the daily chart's been in a nice uptrend stemming from a bottom that was put in, a short-term bottom back here a while ago. We showed you in our classes last week how we identified that bottom. Now the thing is that here we are now, the speed lines are coming back down on top of us, the support is coming up underneath of us, and we are caught right in the middle of that once again on the daily chart, as you can see. So what this means, putting in plain terms, there is no mandate for a, really going all in, so to speak, on long-term or long-side trades. There's select long-side trades that have been out there. In fact, we showed you some of the ones like what Ted was even doing, like for instance, BBBY, for instance. And so there are select opportunities that have been appearing, but in general, we'll talk about the sectors that are the most interesting. There's 2 sectors that are very hot, only one that I find, really interesting. We'll talk about that in a moment. So, with that, as you know, being concerned about this still being a key area of support resistance, this is why, the focus has been looking for just as much intraday short side trades as long side trades. In fact, basically my trading this week was short side trading versus long side here on an intraday basis. And today you can see why, if you're trading, why that would be a key focus as well. So as we take a look here, and like I said, and before I move on, I'm still using the 1 minute, 5 minute charts there. I'm looking for the trend on the 5 minute and then looking for executions on the 1 minute. But, also keep in mind, like the training I did for you last week, you recall, even looking for runaways where you're breaking down through, pulling back to, and then looking for further movement in the direction of that trend. We spent a lot of time talking about that and did a really big training class for you guys the other day, as you recall, on that again on Wednesday. So go back, watch the videos for all of you, that were part of that class. Now, before we move on to my sector thoughts, just a reminder, I do want to revisit like crude oil and gold here. So you'll recall gold and crude oil. I said, look, right now I just don't think it's a long side opportunity here, and we're continuing to make, this is a weekly chart of gold, we're continuing overall to have a lot of pressure on top of us from multiple vantage points, and so I just still, like I said, gold is just not, from a longer term perspective in the wheelhouse for me at this time. That may be controversial, especially for the gold bugs. I'm just looking at it strictly from a technical perspective, not debating the merits of long-term investment. But from a technical perspective, we're still under pressure there. So what I said weeks ago still continues to hold. Same thing with crude oil now. As we take a look here with crude oil, you'll see it's been kind of smacking into resistance, smacking into resistance, smacking into resistance, as continue to be under that same pressure and down in those areas where we talked about weeks ago, which so the same comments as gold, just not really from a technical perspective a place to do anything other than a short-term intraday trade where I can buy and sell it, or sell it and buy it back and walk away and sleep like a baby at night. But from a buy it and hold it right now, not interested in that either from the technicals. Now, when we move over here to like sector scanner, so what you'll see here is there's 2 stronger areas, utilities and energy. One thing to note from my perspective on the oil and exploration side of it, just keep in mind what I said a minute ago. Oil is under pressure here, so energy, there's certainly a lot of these energy stocks that have gone ahead and pushed up, but the utilities I think has actually been a stronger play. So one of the things you can do is kind of go in here and decide, well, parallel charts, and then find some of the most interesting ones there. Take a look at their advancers, decliners, their algo scores, try to find the best ones, some of the top most interesting ones, and break it down from there to find some of the most interesting stocks. So in other words, net for the time, I'm focusing more on utility side than the energy side of it. Both are strong, but right now I find it just to be a little bit more interesting because of the things that we talked about, like with crude oil and that, for instance. So just a little tip there. I'll talk to you a lot more about these things here in a couple of days. We did the big classes here a week and a half ago, which was really meant for all traders and investors from my perspective. We have a big class coming up now next Wednesday here, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Pacific. This one is really focusing on my most powerful one. So this is really going to be a class for people that are a little bit more active, a lot more active from my perspective, active traders, active investors. They're very serious about what they do in their craft. So this class will probably be a little bit over the head for like a brand new beginner trader, just being honest about that. But for the traders and investors that are more serious and really advanced or really loving and have a passion for the financial markets and investing, this will be a special class for you, just kind of letting you know in advance. Also, it's a longer class because it is more in depth. So if you guys would love to join me at that class next week here to build upon the things we taught a couple weeks ago, and also keep people focused on all the big opportunities ahead and how to use some literally my most powerful tools and strategies from my perspective, you'll want to join us. So if you go to becomeabettertrader.com/go, becomeabettertrader.com/go, you can go and get yourself registered for that. And like I said, that's going to be a long class, so plan to be there for a while that evening because it's going to be pretty in depth. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend here, and I will look forward to seeing you at that special class and videos, of course, in front of that. So have a great night, have a great weekend, and take care, everyone. Bye-bye.